Yeah, so I asked Kachi what's the team for today, and Kachi said it's Gabriel Jesus. So it's not my thought, it's not my thinking, it's Kachi. So if you don't like Jesus, if you don't like us now, face Kachi, don't face me. My name is Aleja Adeboale. See, I'm using the Italian cap today. This is the best show in the whole of the universe. It's New Sisters of Sport. I have the game with me today. Sorry we could not be with you guys last weekend. Apologies for that. But we are back. We're back live and doing it big and doing real big time. I'm showing on our band radio scope, of course, on our YouTube channel, Spotify, and now we are on rumble.com. That's the new place that you can catch us and watch us live. I'll allow my co-hosts to introduce themselves. I'm going to start with Oracle Koji.
Sport fans, it's always a pleasure and privilege to be here. I chose Gabriel Jesus because he seemed to have taken to life in Arsenal as a dog takes to water. Let's hope that this translates to a bit of consistency in the business part of the season, and not only Arsenal continuing their trend of winning every preseason trophy there is to win. Stay tuned for a great show.
All right, perfect. Turn that to sports. All right.
Hello, viewers, listeners around the world. Welcome to the show once again. For me, I think the theme of this show today will be, let me say, the legal interpretation of players' contracts. We'll need able to probably wear his law thinking cap, because I know he has a bit of background in law, and the wife she's a lawyer. So we need some perception, some law, some legal perception in terms of what is actually going on between Man United, Frankie de Jong, and Barcelona, because there seems to be a lot of issues that probably is not clear to we that we are not learned, because that's what lawyers call themselves. They are the only learned people.
Let me tell you something for free though. Laporte is a crook. Sheyi.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the show. My name is Sheyi Ajayi once again. As a Manchester United fan, you want to be, you want to keep looking, for the arrivals. It seems they are coming in trickling.
Refreshing your group.
It seems they are coming in trickles, even though the outward players seems to have left quite a big hole in the team. But we're still looking forward. Let's see what happens by the end of the transfer window. Olawale mentioned the De Jong issue earlier, and we hope to dissect that business right here today.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much, Sheyi, for that wonderful introduction. But don't say good evening. Some people are actually in the morning. We're going to start off and jump off right into it. And we're going to start with the NBA. Not so much coming from the NBA front, but I can something I've never liked. I supported the Boston Celtics in the course of the NBA playoffs last season. They have run. I even wished in the finals they could win against the Golden State Warriors at the point, until I now threw out my green jackets and just decided, let me go with Steph Curry because of the abuse Steph Curry has gone through in the hands of people that don't appreciate that kind of talent. Anyways, something I don't like about the Boston fans, the Boston Celtic fans, is the fact that they are way too abusive and they don't keep it a step. They don't tone it down, and they go racial, which doesn't make sense. We all understand that most of the people in the NBA or the players are black guys. Most of them are black guys, and there's always this sentimental value towards protecting your heritage and the rest. I'm not here to talk about what our social status is as black people, but the intellectual inadequacy of the Celtic the Boston Celtic fans. I'm pretty sure their average IQ will be less than 20. I'm not apologetic about that. If you go around throwing tantrums and abusing people racially, even if you are Elon Musk, your IQ is below 20. I know Olawale will have a dissenting opinion, so I'll start with Olawale on this one. Olawale, how ridiculous, given what I knew it, but given what what's his name again? LeBron came out to say over the course of the week, like, these guys are very, very racist. I'm not saying they should do anything about it, but I don't even care. I don't really care again. I don't play the sport. But how ridiculous are these fans for doing this?
I think for me, this is a bit complicated because I've actually watched Kennedy Perkins saying it on, I think, was it on First Take, when Kyrie was having these front and back issues with the Celtic fans. And we all knew, and we all knew the history between Kyrie and the Celtics. So Perkins, the way it sounded that day, it wasn't like he was probably doing it for TV or probably because he played for the Celtics. It was very clear that Boston is not a racist town. The Celtic fans are not racist. For the fact that they are being, what do you call it? What will I say? Passionate, probably they could be abusive, yes, but from what he said, that it wasn't something really personal, like in terms of on the racial, it doesn't sound anything racial at all. Yeah, okay. And look for LeBron coming out to say this, couple of things. Is LeBron saying this probably to get Kyrie to the Lakers? Of course, you can never tell sometimes, but you understand LeBron has a bit of history with the Celtic boys. One of the reasons why LeBron left Cleveland Cavaliers in the first, doing the first thing there, was because there was no answer. He couldn't get the answer couldn't get past the Boston Celtics big three of Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen. Yeah, so I know he has history with the Celtics in terms of the game.
So maybe it's personal for LeBron.
Yeah, but for me, I've heard a lot of. If he has said this about the Utah fans, probably I will not argue with this, because I think we've seen a lot of different players having issues with the Utah fans on TV.
The moments can get you in Nigeria. Don't abuse the Utah fans. So yeah, I'm not there.
So if you were saying this about the Utah fans, probably I might not. But for the Celtics, I don't think so. Of course, again, if you go back in history, if you look at the Boston Celtics and the Lakers rivalries in the 80s, you understand the fact that, because there was this documentary from the ESPN, this 30 for 30 ESPN documentary, like a couple of black guys that play for the Celtics in those days. You know, there's this perception about the town being a racist, like you are playing for a white team. Why will a black guy be playing for a white team? Why the Lakers is viewed as a black team?
As a black team.
But beyond that, I don't think we've heard any bad thing about the Celtic fans in terms of being racist, to be sincere. It's very difficult. It's very difficult for me to say LeBron is lying, but again, it's just a bit surprising with the way he came out, and as he was very firm about it. It wasn't something like he has a doubt about. Yeah. So I'm very surprised. I won't say it because I would have expected probably somebody like either KG or even Ray Allen to have alluded to this, if not openly, at least they should have given us a hint of this even after their retirement. But I've not heard anything like that from anybody.
Okay, if it's so, I'm a bit Kachi, any dissenting opinion? I saw it last season, anyways. I don't know. I saw it last season, and I felt it was off the top, you know. For me, that's why I think. And we from Toronto, we don't like the Boston Celtics. We don't like them.
We're too polite. I actually don't have a dissenting opinion. I really don't think it's the entirety of the Boston Celtic fans.
Yeah,
I
100%.
definitely need to point out that I believe there
100%.
are some stupid people among those fans
Yeah.
that have an IQ of minus 20, not just 20. And sometimes those people, just like the proverbial empty barrel making the loudest noise,
yeah,
are the ones whose voices we hear because they don't have an iota of decorum or decency in their bias and racial stupidity that they express. For a franchise to have existed since the inception of the league, I think if they were notoriously or notorious for being racist as a franchise, it wouldn't just be an issue coming out now.
Exactly.
But it's also,
but I don't think it's a franchise, Kachi. I think it's a fans.
Well, the fans make the franchise. If you're a franchise without fans, you are nothing. Really. If you go to the NFL, speak to the Los Angeles Rams. Every time they play San Francisco 49ers, it looks as if they are playing an away game because they don't have fans. But another thing I need to also say is, oftentimes you hear the Boston Celtic fans, when you hear them that boisterous, that raucous, it's a sign of respect because they only bring their A game in terms of insulting or heckling you when they know you are a big threat to them. LeBron James, Draymond Green, like he did, and the whole stadium shouting what they shouted. So I think it's just a way of making your presence felt. And the reason why I don't really think they are racist and I mean 100% racist is when you watch basketball in Europe, European, is it called, Euro basketball.
Yes,
Home fans are burning, they are throwing flares, they are burning anything to intimidate the visiting fans, So you do everything that you can do up until the point where you cannot break the law. So bend it as much as you can, but don't break the law. But all this, I really need to come back to let you know, in every a basket of 100 apples, it is inevitable that there will be one or two bad apples. If it's for those one or two bad apples, I agree with what LeBron has said, but I cannot use the antics of one or two or a small pocket of fans to generalize and say the entire fan base is racist.
Okay, all right, perfect. Maybe I'm a little bit sentimental because we don't like.
You are a Raptors fan, that's why.
I'm not a Raptor fan. Please. I support us now.
Why
would I support Raptors again?
Kachi,
don't like me.
Yeah. But I have a bit of soft spot for Boston probably as a city. I think there's a bit of Irish British heritage around that area.
Yes.
I think the whole of that area is called New England.
And the Irish are actually good people anyways. I've worked with a couple of Irish and they are very nice people. All right, moving on. We'll move on to Kachi. We'll move on to your alter ego in the person of Kevin Durant. It looks like Kevin wants to leave. Some people are actually in support of Kevin leaving right now, leaving the Nets, but it looks as if the options in front of Kelvin does not look good, and his best option is to return back to his vomit. That's staying with the Nets, or probably go to Golden State Warriors, or move to the 76ers. The Pelicans rejected the trade offer. New Orleans, everybody have basically rejected the trade offer for Kelvin, because for you to get Kelvin, you have to give away every good that you have in your team. And like Olawale pointed out pre-production, even if Kelvin goes to one of those teams, Kelvin would still be alone in that team because all the good players will have been traded to the Nets. So it looks like a very bad dilemma for Kelvin. And he's so much in contract. Like his contract is so tied down with the Nets that it does not even make any iota of sense for him to try to force out a move. If you are going to the other side for 3 years and they've traded all the juice. Let me put it that way. All the juice in
for 4 years. 4 years.
Thank you. For 4 years. For 4 years, they're going there. They squeeze all the juice out of that team already to get you. It's just going to be from fire to fire. But Kachi,
Yeah.
I want to hear your opinion about that.
It's interesting what's happening to KD. First, let's put it out there that it is the media that has been touting Golden State Warriors as a potential landing spot. Let's not forget that Kevin Durant himself came out and only mentioned 2 franchises, the Phoenix Suns or the Miami Heat. Right. Every other rumor we've heard has been rumors from the media and from guys like you and I.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the Phoenix Suns signed out of that option when they matched the Indiana Pacers offer to DeAndre Ayton. So because right, 18 is committed. I don't know where they can get the cap to accommodate both of them anyway. Now back to what Olawale also said in the production for, and we've been saying this every time you ask us, where is the ideal place for Kevin Durant to stay? The ideal place is that Kevin stays
back in New York,
remains in Brooklyn. The truth is, whether we like it or not, forget whatever is happening. On paper, the Brooklyn Nets team is a championship caliber team. The way they are currently constructed. Yes, they may not have an out of this world center. Yes, we understand. But they have a very good, potentially when it decides to play proper basketball, they have a very good defender in Ben Simmons that can at least be the first line of defense to allow the 7-footer Kevin Durant come back and maybe swat some balls away. If Kyrie is in his element and going into his bag of tricks, we know he's a 1B. Kyrie is not a 2. He's a very good 1B. 1B. So if they decide to all remain together, and let's not forget that this team could have won a championship 2 years ago. Save for what happened in Game 6, I think it was Game 6 or Game 7.
Game 7 against
in the Eastern Conference Final against the Bucks, right? The way they are constructed, they will challenge. I'm not saying they will probably win it, but they will get to the business end of that. So why they rush to leave? The issue really is all we've been saying about Kevin Durant. Kevin hates to be challenged. When I say to be challenged, he doesn't like to give himself a challenge. You know, you look at the likes of Sadio Mane, who had something good going in Liverpool and said, okay, I think I've won all there is to win. Let me go to another league entirely just to prove himself. Kevin right now does not hold himself that accountable. And I think he's hurting his legacy, especially if he moves to the Warriors, like we said, like everybody is saying he will. I don't think you gave a very good point that if any of these teams should come for him, Josiah would ask, because he will be bitter. And if he's going to be bitter, Kevin is potentially setting himself up to, like Olawale called it, to suffer the Carmelo Anthony dilemma when he moved from the Denver Nuggets to the New York Knicks. So back the question, if you ask me next week, if you ask me when the season starts, where the best place is for Kevin Durant, it is for Kevin Durant to go back to Josiah and say, I'm under contract. I'm going to at least honor this year of my contract. And if you want to make any other trade, it won't be because I asked for it. I still think the Nets is the best place for him.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that. Olale, I'm going to come to you next. And let's, for 1 second, think about it that KD staying, Kyrie staying, Ben Simmons is back in his element. Who potentially could or should the Nets be trading out to get a good center, and who should be the big center that the Nets should look forward to getting to complement it? Honestly, because if they do complement it, like Kachi rightly said, they're a potential winning team. We see the Boston the Celtics getting to the finals, whether by hook or crook, they got there.
For me, if you ask me, I think the major thing the Brooklyn Nets team needs for now is they need a leader. And which leader can they trade for? They need a coach who can hold those guys accountable. They need a coach who is very smart, who is very sound, who understands the game very well. See, even though that team is not balanced, we understand that fact. We've seen a lot of championship teams in the past who are not really
you can hardly see a team that looks completely
100%
perfect team.
balance. Yeah.
There will be so as good as the Golden State Warriors of even 2015, 16 was. People always they are when it comes to rebounding, they are not so good when it comes because they don't have the size.
Yeah.
You could imagine if Draymond Green is the tallest guy in the team, and is one player at the center. So that shows. So I just think they need somebody who could probably work on the strength of the team and find a way to hide their, what do you call it?
The deficiencies.
The deficiency. Yeah. And I think if they had a very good coach, this their current guy, by now should have been improved. What's his name? This tall young boy. At times,
I forgot his name.
I forgot his name. I think the guy should have a bit of flesh. He needs to be
more. Yes, he needs to bulk up. It does definitely. He needs to bulk up.
He needs to bulk up. And with Ben Simmons, like we are saying, Ben Simmons is not just a point guard. Ben Simmons is one of those players that can guard every position. He can guard he can defend a point guard. He can defend a shooting guard. He can defend Nick Claxton. Yes. Okay. So I think there are lots of potentials that they can just go small completely with Patty Mills and Seth Curry, and they are getting this guy back. What's the name? This white shooter that had injury last year. Was
Drogan?
No, not Drogan. No, there was one. Okay.
So Joe Harris.
So Joe Harris is coming back. He's a very good defender, and if in terms of trade, I don't know whether they can get a meaningful trade package from either Joe Harris and Clarkson, but I still think that squad alone, it's all about, I think, if you can't get leadership from Kevin Durant, if there is one thing I think they can do, is probably to change their manager and get somebody who is very good at, like, I was very mad when we were looking for coaches and they didn't consider Tyronn Lue. He was available then.
Ty Lue or even Mark Williams.
Exactly. So I think I think for me, that squad should be, they can retain that squad and get a very good coach who could get the best out of that team. Like Kachi said everything. They have a championship content, because the best you could wish for in any team is like, okay, this team we have has potentials to get to the business end. Winning it all depends on a lot of factors. Which might not entirely be within your control. But what you could have or you could wish for is that, okay, this is our team. We are sure
be prepared enough for the situations ahead.
Exactly. Which I think
I have a question.
They just need to sort.
I have a question, Olawale, for both you and Debo. I know you are the host, but I want to put you on the spot here. Still sitting with the Brooklyn Nets. So Goran Dragic, their guard, is back in his hometown, and he could speak freely to the media. He said the current, and this is someone who has played with the Heat. He's seen the Heat culture. He came out to say that the current Brooklyn Nets roster is governed by a me-first individualistic mindset, unlike the team-centric mindset that the Heat is known for. Now, this is someone that I think he's a free agent. Yes, I think he's a free agent. Seeing what he brings, yes, he may not be the younger Dragic that we know, but he's still pretty effective when he plays in a team that moves the ball around. How significant will it ultimately be when someone in your own team is coming out to publicly condemn players' attitude? And what should the Nets do with Goran? I want to get both yours and Olawale's.
No, Kachi, but I think Goran has probably just shared the sentiment of what everybody is already aware of. We all know what Kyrie is all about. Kyrie believes he should be taking the last shot in that team. In his mind, I think Kyrie believes he's better than any other person playing basketball.
That's why I call him a 1B.
And KD himself, if you check one of his interview when he initially joined, what do you call it? The Nets.
The Nets. Yeah.
He criticized the ball movement style of the Golden State Warrior. Like what he said in that interview, like, I'm not quoting verbally, like, at times ball movement doesn't win it overall. It gets to a stage whereby you have to get the ball, ISO, go ISO and do your thing.
Yeah.
If you recall the Boston the series with Houston, when they played when Chris Paul was in Houston, in game, I think it was in game 4 or game 5, Steve Kerr actually called KD aside. He was now narrating some stories about the Jordan Bulls to him, how you have to trust your teammates.
Yes.
There are times KD wants to go ISO, but because of the way they play. But unfortunately, this ball movement was what has given you the success you've enjoyed. The ISO you and Russell Westbrook played at, what do you call it?
OKC.
Did not land you guys anywhere. So the Goran, for me, I think I just alluded to what we've already known. We've already, as everybody actually believes, KD, and that's one of the problems they have. The coach doesn't have a say. KD and Kyrie are the one determining what to do what. And what KD doesn't realize is it is easier to defend an ISO team compared to a team that moves the ball around.
Exactly.
Anyways, for me, actually, I'll say that's pretty bold, and like Olawale said, it's alludes to, it's just an echo, a sentiment that's being re-echoed, right? And I know I like Kyrie, but his thinking is a me factor oriented, and is individualistic, if I'm permitted to use that word. So there's a need for things to change in the team for them to have that desired success. And like Wale said, it's something that it has to be organic. Nobody wants to take responsibility. They don't have a LeBron or Michael Jordan or even a Draymond Green in their team. So it has to be like a united team playing together and doing their things collectively.
And that's why they need a coach.
Exactly.
They need a coach.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's where the leadership starts from. Anyways, let's move on to basketball. Well, we have Garcia calling out Jonathan Davis. Shey, what's happening? Jonathan Davis he looks rugged. Do you think Garcia will stand a chance, or this is just all talk and preps like we always see in boxing?
Anyway, we've seen quite a lot of boxers coming out to call out fellow rivals. Some eventually, they actually get to battle it in the ring. Some might not be. But this actually is close to it, because these guys they're on top of their game. They are one of the top 3, let's say 3 to top 4 fighters in the lightweight division. So we cannot really say that it can happen. Ryan Garcia is an interim lightweight title holder, that's WBC, and Gervonta Davis is a WBA proper title holder. So these are fighters that they've actually showed their class over the years. But for me, I think with the experience of Gervonta Davis, I think he's a more dogged fighter. He's 27 years. He has a better knockout rate. He has been in the ring more times than Ryan Garcia. But if you have to put the two fighters together, I think they are actually close in terms of their style. They both have a very powerful left hook. Even though Ryan Garcia is about 5 inch taller than Gervonta Davis. But come to think about it, we've seen Gervonta Davis go into another weight division, fought someone way taller than him in the likes of Mario Barrios, and took him out in like I think 7 rounds.
Wow.
So you can really see that Gervonta Davis is the fighter you don't want to enter into the ring with. But of course, these are gladiators. Ryan Garcia also possess a flawless record, talking about 23 bouts with 19 knockouts. Actually, he's not a pushover, but I think he's just a little bit less experienced than Gervonta Davis. That is really the difference. Ryan Garcia actually won his bout last night, and also his claim to be able to fight Gervonta Davis is not far from true, because he fought a 33-year-old man last night, took him out in 6 rounds. Fortuna is actually also a southpaw. Gervonta Davis is a southpaw. Gervonta Davis is 5'5". Fortuna is 5'6". So you can see the similarities in the guy he fought last night. So definitely, I think it deserves his it deserves his call out
of challenging.
Exactly. Yeah. But he has done this. He has done this over the years. He's also called out Devin Haney. Apparently, they are close friends. They fought in their amateurs, but the guy is, I think, a little bit above him. But let's see what happens. It's going to be a fantastic bout if it ever happens in the lightweight division. We'll be here to do the countdown.
All right, perfect. And of course, since we were not here last week, honor is due to whom honor is due to. Novak won the Wimbledon Open, doing it in grand style against the eccentric Kyrgios. Please pronounce it very well for me.
Kyrgios.
And of course, there's a need for me to publicly apologize to Nick Kyrgios for the question I asked a week before that. I did a little bit of research about him, and I saw this guy has battled alcoholism, drug addiction, and this kind of trait that we've seen in him to rehabilitate himself, get into his first ever Grand Slam final. It's still a good one given his history. So I apologize on behalf of myself and of course the rest of the co-hosts to Nick Kyrgios for washing it out. But Sheyi, just before we go on a quick break, Novak is cementing his legacy further, and I claim it to be one of the best of all time. And the issue is, or should I say, my own question is, who is he handing the mantle over? We can't deny the fact, we can't deny the excellence of the Pete Sampras, the Andre Agassi, Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal, and of course Novak. We can't deny the excellence of these guys, you know. And the bad boy John McEnroe, the one that went to prison as well, I've forgotten his name. Some
Boris Becker.
Boris Becker.
Of course, exactly. You know, we can't deny their excellence and their level of talent. But who are they handing over to, and how do we? I don't even want to elogize Novak for any reason. We've done so much for him on this show. We don't have to play Novak over and over again. But who are those is handing over to? Are they fit for the role? Are they fit for the throne? You know, when Pete was going, we know there was Andre Agassi. When Agassi was going, we know there's a Roger. And while Roger was doing this thing, we could see the exploit of Rafa. We could see the exploit of Novak himself, even Andy Murray. For some strangers, I'll have to put him there as well in the mix. Yeah. So I just want to know, what do you think is the closest to these guys that could potentially
to be sincere, Debo, I know there's quite a lot of guys out there that easily we could mention the names, the Zerevs, the
Yeah,
Mendevets,
Medvedev, yeah.
the
Berrettini,
Berrettini, the
Carlos
Carlos
Alcaraz.
Alcaraz, exactly. But I'll just let me be sincere and let me just hit the nail on the head. I think after the reign of the likes of, I think Federer is almost out right now. Nadal might follow because I think Nadal's body will make Novak just out winning, talking about Grand Slam. That's what I think. And I think after Novak, it will turn to what we are seeing now in the female version for a lot of years. It might be it might be up to like 5 years, but I think that is what's going to happen. We are not going to have an outright dominant force in the male tennis. That is what I can see for now. Those guys are not so consistent, and I can't see any further.
All right, perfect.
Before we leave,
do you agree? Do you agree with him?
100%. I think we are going back to. We'll probably go back to what we've seen in the female version, whereby somebody will win one championship, then you will not probably see them again. And something just came to my mind. I think I listened to one particular. I can't remember the program. In the last 16 years, was there any Grand Slam final without any of these top three? At least one of them playing. I don't think so.
That's a bad one, man. That
now takes me to the case of Andy Murray. I actually love Andy Murray. You know, I like anything British. I don't know. I love Andy Murray a lot. I think Andy Murray in another era would have probably ended up with 8 championship. Am I wrong to state that?
No, I think you're right. You're not. 100% you're not.
Which means Andy Murray and Stan Wawrinka having 3 championships is not a small joke in this era.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And considering the fact that Andy Murray competed a lot with these guys, at least up to the semi-final stage, and sometimes he lost in the finals.
Yeah.
I think people don't give him enough credit. He has 3 Grand Slams in this
and
era.
And Del Potro.
Yeah. That Argentine guy. I think injury didn't really do the guy.
But he got two championship. Stan Wawrinka, I think, also got one. Wawrinka as well. So I just want to give kudos to those 3 guys, because it wasn't as if the competition they had were walkovers. You know, like what Olawale was alluding to. They had players that, if you take out those 3 guys, they had people that will easily win 5, 6. They will have 5, 6, 7 championship to their name.
Looks like you guys have forgotten Nigel Roddick, though.
No, Roddick, yes, was a power hitter, but technically you can't say Roddick was in their era. Technically, because Roddick was just the last of the Mohicans before the Federal Express train started taking over. You know, I will put more Roddick with maybe the Agassiz. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's
Andrew. I know. What's the name of this Australian guy? Leighton Hewitt.
Leighton Hewitt and Andy Roddick. Yeah. I think those were the contemporaries, really. So it's a big credit to what those 3 guys have done. But it also talks of the huge talent pool that they had to play against, that there were still some people that could win 1 game, 2 games against them when it really mattered. But I really don't think we would go to, I want to disagree with both Sheyi and Olawale. I don't think the men's competition would devolve into that anything goes or anybody win one and disappear. I think there are some people that are really there. I mean, Alexander Zverev is the real deal. Daniil Medvedev, I also believe is going to be the new Djokovic. And let's not take away anything from Alcaraz. I know it's coming. Also from Sin, his name is Sinner, right?
Yeah, Sinner,
yeah. So I think the only challenge is it might take a year or 2 for them to balance up. Next set of 3, next set of 4 to separate themselves from the competition. But once they do, I think we're going to see another era of dominance. Whether they will now win as much as the big 3, I don't know.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much for that, Kachi. That's why we call you the Oracle Kachi.
But my predictions have always gone wrong.
That's
So you might
no, no, no,
validate
no,
that,
no.
Sheyi, please.
That was back in the days. You got that name and you got it right. She is the new, is the assistant oracle. Is still the oracle.
2.0, the bigger version, the upgrade right now.
Perfect. So moving a little bit to football right now, what we have a couple of things to talk about, and it's crazy to start with. I just have to put it out there. It's crazy. You see the way Pep Guardiola is handling Manchester City right now. He already told I go again as of last season that it's no longer in his plans. They had a standoff with Raheem Sterling, a year left. Sterling moving to a direct rival in the company of Chelsea. Of course, Bernardo Silva offering himself on multiple occasions to Barcelona. And don't forget that Guardiola was ready to sell both Sterling and Bernardo last season, save for the fact that Arsenal were not in the Champions League. Bernardo could have been an Arsenal player. So it's not like Guardiola is not holding on or holding back on any player that, okay, you cannot go. I'm pretty sure on this show, we discussed it maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, that Laporte was closely linked to Juventus. And Olade was like, what? Why is Laporte leaving? When, and Nathan Ake is being directly linked to Chelsea to go back to Chelsea. At a point, there were rumors that fee has been agreed, personal terms have been agreed. It was just for City to agree with them, blah, blah, blah. Things could change right now. But my question, Sheyi, is, are we seeing a similar model with Pep, with what we've seen in the past with Sir Ferguson, whereby he just changes his team? It changes his team at a particular point, like, okay, you guys have done enough. I like you, I love you, but it's time for you guys to move on. And I'm like, is it crazy? And I'll give you a very, very good example. I know people tend to say it was because of a fight, blah, blah, blah. But selling Yapstam that year, I don't know if it was 2001, 2000, or 2002. 2001. Selling that particular year.
Thank you for doing that, by the way. Milan still thanks you for that move.
Like, it was ridiculous. And he has done it over and over, where he just takes out players like, okay, you can go, while bringing in new faces to continue the legacy. Or do you think Guardiola is crazy? If you ask me, I think he's crazy. But that's what I think. Personally, I think it should be a little bit gradual, given that we are not even seeing more faces coming to the city. But it's Guardiola. He's a genius.
I think Guardiola's case is different, as in majorly different from Ferguson's own. You mentioned the likes of Stam. They had issues. Van Nistelrooy had problem with Ferguson. Not quite a big problem, but because of Ronaldo's development, they had to let Van Nistelrooy go. And if you look at the others to Roy Keane's issue, even though Roy Keane was not even one of the major players during that time, but was still the captain. But to actually send a message that nobody is bigger than Alex Ferguson, he agreed to let Roy Keane go. What I'm trying to say in short is that Ferguson actually don't sell performing players. The only issue that makes you leave Alex Ferguson's team is because you are probably, you want to be bigger than his team. There can be only one boss. Now, if we talk about Guardiola seems to think a lot. He seems to find a system the way he wants to play it. Even when you are a player that scores 10, 15 goals in a season, there's still something he's not seeing in his team. There is a possibility of him selling you. So I think that is what we are seeing in the likes of Sterling and Bernardo. What's it called?
Jesus.
In fact, I saw a statistics recently about Sterling. I couldn't believe it. That under every player, especially the attacking ones, that played under Pep Guardiola, the combination of assists and goals, the only person that betters Sterling's record is Lionel Messi. And if you look at that, this is a player that I just sold to Chelsea. So it definitely shows that Guardiola has a system, has a belief. There's a particular way he wants to play. And when you fall down that particular order or you are not really fit for purpose, it ships you out. So I think that's a difference between Guardiola and Alex Ferguson. I'm not going to say he's crazy because they win trophies, even though he's still lacking the Champions League since Barcelona days. But I think that's the difference between the two great coaches.
All right, perfect. Kachi, do you think Sterling to Chelsea will come back to haunt Guardiola or Manchester City, so to speak?
No. The short answer is no. The long answer is maybe only in the league, because you still need depth. And Sterling, for whatever reason, whether fit for purpose or not, has shown his versatility by being able to play from the wing and also straight down the middle in the first nine role. The fact that he has also learned under some really good coaches and different styles of football, from the patience counter-attacking football they played in Liverpool to the tiki-taka possessive football that Man City played. You are basically letting a very intelligent and still potentially young player leave that can contribute to your direct rival. However, I just think City has set the standard so high. And even though they let certain players go, they replenish so well, because there's just a law that Guardiola has that makes some players just say, even if it doesn't work out, I want to see what it's like to be coached by a mind such as Pep Guardiola. I think another coach that has that right now in the current game is also Klopp. So it doesn't really matter. So, but all this is to say that I think City is still well placed to do well in the short term. I don't know how it will be like in the long term. I think it's still their championship of their league to lose. Manchester United, I don't care what you did in the preseason. It's still City's championship to lose. He may not show all his depth last year because he suffered a lot of injuries. And I hear possibly that Alexander Zinchenko may also move to Arsenal before the end of this week. But I think because of the style of football he plays and adding a proven goal scorer in Erling Haaland, if it's the goals contribution that Sterling contributes, he was not going to miss that because of what Haaland will bring. I think the only thing that he will miss is the versatility that Sterling has. But we've seen Pep transform players. I think because of Erling Haaland's age, there will be certain room for development, and I expect Pep to be the best person to add another layer to his game. So long and short answer, in the long run, it may hurt them, but shortest answer is no. I think City are still well placed.
All right. Perfect. I don't know how to answer to that. Honestly, I feel weird about it. I don't know if Olawale have anything to say, or you want us to move to the next topic.
No, I think the only surprise for me, I'm not surprised about the guys that has left City. I'm just probably surprised with the numbers and the probably potential guys.
Exactly.
The potential guys that might likely leave based on the rumors we are hearing. For Sterling, for all the good stats Sheyi brought forward about, Sterling is actually a frustrating figure in terms of the way he plays. Yeah, I think letting him go. Looking at that City team, with Alan in the team now, that left side is a bit congested because Foden might likely play from that left side. Grealish might play from that left side. Sterling tends to struggle if you put him on the right because he doesn't have that chance to cut in. And so I don't think it's a hot City that much. And how much is going to improve even Chelsea. I don't know because Chelsea will simply down their 5 at the back system and so on. So,
Olale party pooper. Go ahead.
so for who again as lecturer? Okay, for Gabriel Jesus, I think Gabriel Jesus was just for his career. I think Gabriel Jesus' career deserves to be a starter in somewhere a good team, somewhere else. So I think that one is just good for everybody involved. And I want to put myself on the line. I think all things being equal, I see Gabriel Jesus probably eating 20 goals this season. I'll put my head there. I see him eating 20 goals this season.
Wow.
He has that potential.
That is
FPL
Arsenal in the
guys,
top 4.
FPL guys, please take note of what
overall, I'm pretty sure Lali is talking about not just in the EPL.
But I'm sure he's going to have good numbers this season. Just let's take note of that. And I think the only one that is a bit surprising to me is Ake, who they have now probably I think they've ended that rumor.
Yeah.
And Bernardo Silva. I'm not sure they have to say Bernardo Silva because it was their best player last season. I don't see any reason to that.
They've come out to say they're not going to sell Bernardo anyway.
Exactly.
But Bernardo has continuously offered himself for Barca.
Yes,
that's the problem.
And if Zinchenko is going, I think Cucurella is coming in. One way or the other, even when you have a championship team, like Debo rightly pointed out, you need to refresh it somehow. You need guys from new guys who will be more motivated, some guys who you think, what else can they offer to this team? You don't think so. Sterling, I don't think he can offer anything to that City team again. And there's one guy we are not probably talking about, probably because most of us have not seen him, is the Argentine Alvarez, who is coming from South America.
Yeah,
we don't know what.
Yeah, that's exactly. That's another thing. That's another fresh one. For
me, I think if it's going to end with this number, and probably if Zinchenko is going and Cucurella is coming in, I don't think they. I think it's still within reach. If Bernardo Silva leaves, let me say okay, that's when I will start looking at Pep, what's going on. But for now, I think it's still okay.
All right, perfect. Moving to Koulibaly, the Senegalese giant. He has moved to Chelsea, completed a £34 million move to Chelsea. Replace a direct replacement for Rudiger. And I'm just looking at the statistics over the course of last season. He played 29 games. At least makes a tackle, a 1.7 tackle every game, which is marvelous. At the same time, he had just one the whole of the Serie A last season. Keep possession pretty well as well. But the eccentric, what's his name again? Rafa Benitez has come out to say Koulibaly is always overconfident and loses focus when it really matters most. Sheyi, is this replacement good enough for Rudiger? Like this, for me, it's a direct swap, and I feel at this age he has developed to the maximum that he can develop to. So it's going to be like replacing one world-class player for another one and helping Thiago Silva. But I don't know if you have a dissenting opinion about that.
Yeah, I think that you're actually correct. And come to think about it, losing Rudiger, who else would you have turned to? That should be the question. If you are looking for that kind of experience, that kind of height, that kind of a presence in the defense, I think it's actually a good choice for Chelsea. Benitez can say that. I believe every defender has his own nightmare. I still recall the fearless Nemanja Vidic whenever he sees Torres. So every defender, they all have their issues, their nightmare. For Kalidou Koulibaly, it could be loss of concentration at times. That statement is just for the likes of Haaland to know when to capitalize. That is all I can see from there. But in all, I think Chelsea got their man. They've been able to, get someone to replace Rudiger, which is very, very important to that defense. Without defense, Chelsea is actually nothing.
All right, perfect. 1.4 tackles per game. Interception stands at 1.1. He commits about one foul every game, which is a ridiculous statistics for a defender, a central defender for that matter, although he plays in the Serie A. Offside, he keeps the offside minimal as well at 0.7. Clearance is 3.1 per game, and it does not get dribbled 0.5 per game, which is ridiculous. And he has about 0.9 block per game as well. So for me, I think it's quite a good replacement. I know you want to say something, but because we are pressed for time, I'm going to come to you directly about your boy FDJ that wants to move to Barcelona. We don't understand what Barcelona is doing. We don't understand what United are doing. At one point, it's 55 million pounds being agreed. Another day, we're waking up to a different one. Even Fabrizio doesn't understand this transfer assistance. He cannot even tell us here we go again on this one. What exactly is happening now, Ali? Tell me.
Yeah, like you say, even when Fabrizio himself is getting confused, you know there is a problem somewhere. I think probably one that sometimes in the future, I hope somebody will come out with a detailed explanation about this transfer saga. I think it has some legal issues. I think Barcelona and Frankie de Jong are playing some kind of, is it a cat and mouse game? Yeah. I think it has to do with money, but the complexity, or let me say the detail, is what we don't know. What we know is for the fact that Barcelona are owing Frankie de Jong some money, owing him literally, because the information we've had is that there were some difference, like it differs some way. If you say at least, or if something is deferred, that means okay, Debo, I'll pay you this something, defer wages, in my books. That's a liability. Like, okay, I'm going to pay it. Now, that is the information we have. Now, what I've been thinking is, okay, if you say you are going to pay me something at the later days, even if I'm leaving, once you've recognized the fact that you're owing me this money, even if I've left that team, you should still be able to pay me without any
100%,
issue.
100%.
So now, if that becomes an issue, that means it is just more than I'm owing you this money. That is where the latest information I had probably I was able to get today, I think makes a bit of sense. It's not just about them owing him. It was about them renegotiating his contract. I think starting from the 2020-21 season. Now,
COVID.
Yeah, they are doing the COVID period. The wages for those 2 years, a large chunk of it have now been renegotiated to be paid in the now he had to extend his contract down by 2 years. Now, so they were now spread across 2020-2023, which is this season starting now. This season we are looking at. So large chunk of those money were now moved to starting from 2020-2023 to, I think, he now added another 2 years. So from the way it stands, if you look at it legally, it is not like Barcelona is actually owing that money. That's from this point of view. Yeah, because something has been renegotiated. It's like a signed contract. So if De Jong probably wants to enjoy those money that has now been deferred to the latter part of his contract, he needs to stay in Barcelona to earn it. If not, that money is gone. So, but I don't know the clause in that contract that probably if De Jong categorically make it clear that he wants to leave, that is gone. But probably if Barcelona wants to sell him, now it's not like I don't want to play these years. It is you guys that want to sell me. Yeah. So if you guys are selling me, you need to compensate me for those money that we've moved to those years of my contract that I cannot I cannot fulfill because you guys want to sell me. I think that is where the complexity of this whole thing is coming. And from the way it stands too now, he has his own Barcelona too will not be able, due to the La Liga laws, depend on what do you call it, restriction about salary cap, Rafinha, without sorting out what do you call it,
the situation
as it is,
with Frankie de Jong.
It looks very messy. We'll probably get more information, but I see this thing probably going to the last day of the transfer window as it stands.
All right, perfect. And if they don't find a resolution, if you renegotiated the contract, just to put it out there, you've renegotiated a contract, it becomes void.
Exactly.
Whatever contract you have before then becomes void ab initio.
Comes void.
So it becomes void.
Yes.
So there's no way you can go back and say I was earning 450,000 euros
Exactly.
per week when you've negotiated your contract down to
And
250,000 pounds or 250,000 euros per week, unless there was a counter offer that this particular amount will be deferred. So I was earning 450 before now. I'm negotiating with you guys because of COVID. I'll take $250,000 now, or 250,000 pounds right now, and the other 200,000 will be deferred to a later date. Unless there's that clause in it, then there's a whole lot of
complications that we don't really have access to.
Exactly, involved in this one. I wish United would not get him. I wish Barcelona would keep owing debts. I don't wish both clubs any good, as a matter of fact.
But you know, if United can lay their hands on Frankie de Jong, that could be the beginning of some good thing, because you cannot win without my friend.
It's
going
to be a huge catalyst. Tachi, I'm going to come to you next. I did this on my own, like a whole segment of it, dissected it. But now that I have my panel of analysts with me, I need to restrain my step and hear your opinion about it. For 1 second, let's pretend United gets Frankie de Jong.
Mm-hmm.
They already signed Christian Eriksen.
Mm-hmm.
Eriksen, statistically, his best position is an attacking midfielder, not as a central midfielder. As an attacking midfielder, Eriksen has played 252 games, had 55 goals, and had a whooping 75 assists. I'm pretty sure if we throw this kind of statistics out for a match, you'll be like, oh, wow. But because it's Christian Eriksen, people don't understand. And in the central midfield role, he played 91 times, scored 13 goals, and had 24 assists. As a left midfielder, he played 78 games, had 25 goals and 23 assists. So looking at the statistics, I think we both agree for 1 second that his best position is an attacking midfielder. That leads you to the next question of Bruno Fernandes, who happens to be the best player for United across the past maybe 2 seasons, or since he came to Old Trafford. No doubt about that. And one point that we've all made about Bruno is the fact that Bruno loses possession. He lacks concentration. He gets you the goal. If Eriksen wants to move to the left side of the front three, for instance, we already have a Jadon Sancho there, probably an Antonio Martial or Marcus Rashford. So it's difficult to play there. Playing on top of the cherry of McFred or whoever, Frankie and Fred, and playing on the cherry, that'll be taking Bruno's spots. As a matter of fact, Eriksen has played as a central forward 4 times with 2 goals and 3 assists. So it's not like he cannot play as a false 9. He can play as a false 9. He can play as a defensive midfielder as well. But of course, the intensity that will be required, given what we saw for Eriksen to, I think last year at the European Championship, we have to be careful. And like I said before now without you guys, Kanu was well managed with a similar situation. Some people have been unlucky. So it's not like Eriksen is a walking dead. I don't agree with that. I think he's still the same player. If not because of the laws in Italy. After Conte left, Eriksen would have blossomed at Inter Milan.
Okay.
What is the most viable? I know it's a very pretty hard question, but what's the most viable option for Ten Hag with this complication of Eriksen? And I have to put it out there as well. Eriksen could be what Wamata could not be for United.
Well, yes, you can put that out there, but in all you've said, all I'm hearing is that Manchester United now has one heck of a versatile player in their midst. I'm not going to call the attacking midfield his best position. Instead, I'm going to say anywhere in that middle is a plus for United. Definitely what it brings beyond the competition with Bruno Fernandes is raising Bruno Fernandes's game. Fernandes at a point enjoyed some form of monopoly, and that was why I believe his form dipped, but there really wasn't any competition for that his role. In so short a time, he became like a demigod in Manchester United.
Yeah.
And that is really what Eriksen brings, because it's not only Bruno's position that is at risk. Like you said, he can play anywhere in that trident midfield. Fred has to up his game. Even if the FDJ comes, if he comes, which Olawale thinks he will, everyone knows that they are playing with probably someone who is smarter than all of them put together.
Yeah, 100%.
That's what I believe, that Christian Eriksen, haven't applied his trade across every league. I believe he is smarter than all these guys. For me, I think his best position is wherever Ten Hag needs him to play on that day, especially if he will get other players to play at the level we know he can. One thing everybody knows about Christian Eriksen is he will make the entire team better. Brentford was pretty decent, but the latter part of the season, Brentford became a team that played with intelligence. The ball had a purpose when it was going forward in Christian Eriksen's feet, on his feet. So for me, ultimately, his best position will be, where can we get your best out on a match by match basis? He is not going to be limited to a particular position. He will complement Bruno Fernandes, but he would also bring out the best in Bruno Fernandes. I really think he's a great addition to that midfield. And in your analysis, you also said he has to be properly managed. I think it's best he stays in England. They have best in class medical respiratory coverage and support. You look at what was our Nigerian Papilo also got to enjoy. But yes, he will have to be managed. He's going to a team. Thankfully, is United in Europe this year?
They are in Europa League.
Europa.
Okay, they're in the Europa League. So that means he can get a Sunday, Thursday sequence, which is probably not the worst. I don't expect him to play every game, but I expect him to play where Ten Hag needs him to play depending on the opposition. If they're going to play a Man City that would hold the ball a lot, then he might need to play a double pivot, and Christian Eriksen can play that double pivot and do the Alexander Pello type of passes, just to cut out that Man City middle and send the ball above that midfield. So I think it would depend on the opposition, and it will depend on where Ten Hag needs him to play. But it is not a blow to Christian Eriksen. It is a testament to his cerebral nature and how valuable I think he is.
All right. I hope Ten Hag is listening to you.
That's a very diplomatic answer, but
yeah, I hope Ten Hag is listening to you, and it takes it game by game as well. Olawale, your opinion?
Yeah, I think if you look at the United squad very well, one thing that is lacking in that squad is United don't really have players who are press resistance. Like, if you are under pressure, can you beat the press? Can you make the other team to think twice before pressing you? None of those guys can probably do it. And that is probably the first set of things, because with what we've heard about Ten Hag, somebody coming from the Dutch school of, what do you call it?
School of thought.
To school of thought, we all know what they want, a bit of at least control. And this is what Eriksen brings in. Is a different kind of a number 10. Fernandes is close to what you could regard to as a second striker. Those kind of midfielders who time their runs.
Perfect, yeah.
Perfect, and get to the edge of the box, rebound, all those shots. But in terms of real playmaking, in terms of retaining possession, in terms of decision making. We all know if there was something we, like you rightly said, that we all identify about Fernandez is he's not the best of decision maker. He gets a bit erratic at times. So I just think Eriksen, depending on what it's available, I probably feel Fernandez will start from in that role. But as the season goes on, we might be seeing either him and Eriksen rotating, or probably more of Eriksen. And because of Eriksen's versatility, there will be games where he might probably ask to play from that left. There will be games he will play as 10. But like Kachi rightly said, it's going to bring more competition. And yeah, but I think it's going to have Bruno will be rightly much more affected by this. And the lights, good.
And things will move on. Okay, all right, perfect.
Exactly.
All right, thank you very much for that. Sheyi, any dissenting opinion to what Kachi and Malali said?
Not really, but what I just want to say is it's going to be initially it's going to be like a headache for Ten Hag. But guess what? It's a very good headache.
Exactly.
It's better for you to have those kind of quality players in your team than have one that's once in a while can down tools. Trust me, if you have injury to any of these players, you have the other one to stand in. Also, depending on the type of team you want to play, like Kachi mentioned the other time, you know what you want to get out of the game, then you know who to play. Also, this is a club that plays quite a lot of games over one season. So having those quality players in the team is a big plus for any coach.
All right, perfect. And just like Kachi just gave us an update, the Lights has agreed terms with Bayern Munich, moving to Allianz Arena till 2027 for a whooping 80 million euros. I wonder why would anybody would spend that kind of money on the Lights. But of course,
he's Bayern now. Do they spend money at all?
they spend some ridiculous money sometimes.
This is part of the ridiculous money.
Yeah,
this is part of the ridiculous money. This is part of the
like
ridiculous.
67 or 70 million on a particular Tio Hernandez.
Yes,
they bought Tolisso for like 50 million. They just okay.
There's no competition.
In light of this, guys, I have a question. I want to take the host role. Sheyi and Olawale, right now, based on what we know right now, who is winning the transfer market this season so far?
Across Europe or just in England?
Across Europe.
Across Europe or England.
Across Europe. Seeing what Barcelona, that does not have money to buy Indomie noodles, are able to get in spite of their debt, who is winning the transfer markets right now?
For me, let me go first. For me, I'm actually looking at Juventus, and my reason being selling Pogba for so much money and getting on a free twice. Okay. That's a bargain. That's a bargain of the century. And I think they also better. Definitely. And they also get thank you. I was about to say that. I think those two players are world-class players. Pogba is of course, we know there is a not so serious boy, but is actually going to make Juventus better. Getting those two alone, I think that's a very massive signing for those teams, especially on the free. They're actually doing good business.
Olale.
If I when you ask this, I'm not prepared for this question. I quickly scan around the room. Nobody has actually made any. But I think if I'm to go for one, I think I will go for Tottenham Hotspur.
Okay.
Most people are not looking at them, but I think they've made some. We all know what Conte wants to do. I think that Ivan Perisic could be a game changer if he's very fit to that team. Ivan Perisic on that left wing back, with those crosses, and with them adding Richarlison, they've added a bit of versatility. Let me say They have a bit. They can rotate very well. You have Kulisevsky can play from the right. I don't know how good Richarlison could go from that right side, but they could mix things up. Now they have like options. Now in the friendly game, we saw Lucas Moura playing more of the wing back. I think they have bought in a lot of players that, and they look like a team that they already know the people. Like they thought they went to, they dropped some players who I think they'll be looking for clubs for them. Sergio Reguilon and some couple of guys. That Tottenham team looks like they are one. They are, if there is a team that they knew what they want, and they've gone ahead to get those players. They got them very early, and if there is a team that could probably pull a bit of surprise in the Premier League with what they've done, it's not like they've got one exceptional players, but they've gotten the players they actually needed. And I think I'll say Spurs.
And Debo?
I thought I was exempted from the question.
No, it's interesting the takes I got from both Sheyi and Olawale. I really want to compare notes.
Honestly, I can't think of anybody. Barcelona would have been who I would have thought, but the players that Barcelona brought
in.
I'm not convinced. So I don't know, honestly, Kachi. Honestly, I don't know. I can't point out. So Kachi, go ahead, please. I don't know.
And guys, answer. I know it's a really tricky question and I put you on the spot there, but I kept thinking about it. Certain clubs have made certain splashes, that in the past you would have said, oh, they have clearly won the transfer market, but you can select any club and you will not be wrong. Chelsea fortifying with Koulibaly and Sterling, yeah. I think it's a very good deal. Bayern Munich, even though they're not threatened locally, still fortifying themselves with the Ligt and Mane. Real Madrid doing their business before everybody brought out their purse in Tchouaméni. It's also, and they're like, okay, we're done with the market. We got who we wanted and all that. So it will make for an interesting assessment when this new season comes. Who settles in quicker, who gets the results they want better. I guess that's really when we can say
nobody has
really
spent, like, they've not really spent, or should I say, bought players that are crazy. Because looking at City bought Alan and Calvin Phillips. There's Alvarez, nothing so spectacular about that. Arsenal being Arsenal, bought a couple of average players, nothing spectacular in that front. Spurs, I don't take them too seriously because they are Spurs, but I think I would agree with Olawale. Probably they are the best. They've had the best transfer market, because the players that they are buying right now might not be for long term, but they will fit into the purpose that Conte wants them to. So I'll agree with Olawale for 1 sec and say Spurs. I'll say Spurs.
I think what we've seen in this transfer window is, in as much as the teams are buying, they are letting go of some players too.
Yeah.
Chelsea have lost Rudiger, they've lost Christensen. So it's more of trying to
like for like.
Most for majority of the team. And like Debo clearly said, we've not really seen that big player move. Like probably there's no big player that is available for movement for now. So, and that's probably the reason why I look at Spurs, and I just feel like Debo said, it might not be a long-term thing. We know Conte for that. He's not a long-term coach. Everything is just for the moment. I just feel like they plug into those. We know what we expect from them. We know how they will line up. And with the kind of rigorous training they are going through now, I just think Richarlison gives them a bit of something different up front. They can make a lot of twists in that their lineup and formation.
All right.
That makes them very dangerous.
Perfect. Unfortunately, time will not permit us to go over Lewandowski this weekend, which is unfortunate. But Gnabry has signed a contract extension with Bayern Munich, putting an end to his move to Chelsea or Manchester United. Gabriel Magalhaes of Arsenal has been touted to move to Juventus. They want to take Bravo Albion to all the way, and of course, they want to take Rabbi Albert to the other way to Arsenal, but this deal might not potentially happen. Zinchenko, we heard there's a £30 million agreement between Manchester City and Arsenal for Zinchenko to be to deputize for Keretani in Arsenal. Dybala, Mauricio Mourinho is doing everything within his power to convince Dybala to move to the right side of Rome, and of course, Lisandro Martinez has agreed personal time, and Ajax has agreed fee of up to 53 million pounds for Lisandro Martinez to move to the Old Trafford. Jules Koundé could be moving to either Barcelona or Chelsea in the coming days. Player has agreed personal time with Barcelona already. I don't understand where Barcelona are going to be getting the money to do this one. And of course, at team of the day, Jesus has scored 3 goals for Arsenal during the preseason, with 2 assists as well. We wish Arsenal good luck. Wish all the good teams good luck, apart from Spurs. I don't know. For me, apart from Spurs, every other person good luck, apart from Tottenham Hotspur. My name is Lalija Adebola, and it's still the New Sisters Sports Show. Till we see you again next week. Don't stop us supporting sports. Bye, guys.